happening, Mudda YouTube? It is your boy Kevin Yee, the Farm D, and I also forgot to open up my tab so I can moderate the comments really quick. But anyways, just kind of wanted to do a real talk, man. I haven't really. What I've realized is over the last few months, I haven't really been talking about too much about how I've been feeling, what I've been up to, and all that sort of stuff. It's been more structured content and whatnot. And I just kind of want to share what's really been happening behind the scenes for me because there is quite a bit that I struggle with that I don't really vocalize, especially these days. Not sure, like, I don't know. I'll be honest with you guys. Ever since kind of like my dad passed away, I feel like there's this part of me which is a lot more um, reserved about sharing what's going on. Not to say like I'm trying to portray a happy like person all the time. I am who I am like on camera, but to be honest, I just haven't really been in touch with like what's going on. And being in quarantine actually has been really difficult for me for a few reasons here, right? I'll be honest, man. Like I feel like um so back let's take this for example, right? Back before quarantine life and all that sort of stuff, it was a lot easier because I got to see my friends. I got to, and thank you guys for the likes, really appreciate it. Um Back in quarantine life, or pre-quarantine life, I got to do things like jujitsu, things I loved, like going and work out. I had multiple outlets, right? But being in a 300 square foot apartment, it really does feel like a jail cell sometimes. I'm finding myself like I have to go out a lot because I get burnt out so much working in the office over here. And don't get me wrong, I love the office. I love what I set up for myself. I have a multi-cam setup. I even have a boom mic up here and stuff like that. But I've been really, really struggling with discipline, including like things like, hey, staying on top of my diet, as well. I mean, even my morning tracker, like when I was first in quarantine, I would hit that tracker every single day, but now I barely even look at it and things are starting to slip. And it's really frustrating. Although one cool thing though in quarantine, I have successfully done like 48-hour fasts and all that sort of stuff. So that's been a game changer. Also recently quit caffeine altogether. So I think part of it is like when I'm struggling with things like discipline, like working out or going through burnout, especially writing and creating shit, right? Um man, it's just I'm just going through a lot all at once. And I feel like a part of myself too is like, man, not to say I want things to go back to normal per se, but I just want my fucking freedoms back, man. Like that's the number one thing that has been bothering me a lot is like I just want my freedom. I want to be able to go out when I want, do what I want, go look at properties and move on to the next business model as well. Because I love closing and stuff, but that is, I mean, like honestly, it's not always consistent, and that's the number one thing I've realized during quarantine. Thank God though, I've been so lucky in my life to just have income, have remote income, just have like to not be one of those like I don't know what the unemployment rate is, but to be fortunate that I'm not there, like I'm not part of that statistic. I'm actually doing pretty well in quarantine, right? And I'm very grateful for everything I have, but you know, there's that part of my life where I just want more. And I never had problems like with discipline of working out or anything like that. It was such a ingrained part of thing for me now. But I don't know. There's something about like working out in a group setting, whether it's at a gym or even going to jujitsu training, that is so it's so stress relieving for me. And I just find myself like complaining a lot more and just being a little bit more negative. I know like there's all these things like journaling and all that, but honestly, that's just the way I've been feeling. I would love to kind of hear how you guys are doing in quarantine and all that as well. Brad Smith says, "Yo, what up, brah? California is most struck about the quarantine. Very dumb." Yeah, I mean, I kind of like I understand the decision, but I don't agree with it straight up. You know, I don't think the data is accurate. I think we should be. It's hurting a lot more people. Just keeping people kept in. I think it's personal responsibility at the end of the day. Like if you're gonna go out, just know that you could potentially be infecting others, but also like like more importantly, we I'm not sure like more importantly, like if you go out, there's a chance. There's always a chance. And I know the initial initial like thought process was like, hey, we don't want to overwhelm the health system as well, but I mean, we can't keep on living like this as well. So I don't know. I don't really have trust in much of the government, to be honest with you, but that's just like my 2 cents. Glenton Campbell said, yo, how have you been, man? Do you have any advice struggling to find a hobby? Well, especially in quarantine, it's tough. And I'll tell you this, Glenton, that's a great question. I'm actually let me screenshot this really quick. That's a really great question. In terms of finding a hobby, man, Glenton, it's really kind of like dating, man. It's trying a lot of different things. I think one of the things that, rather than just doing a broad search online, seeing like what am I interested in, right, what and whatnot, it's like I think one of the things I love doing is just asking my friends what are they up to and just like really tagging along. That way you have someone to go with if you want to try a new hobby, and like chances are, since they're your friends, you're gonna have similar interests, right? So like a lot of my friends were interested in jujitsu, MMA, and stuff. So we love boxing and all this sort of stuff too. So that's where I fell, right? And I have a lot of friends that do that, but I have a lot of friends that who don't like it. I have a lot of friends who like rock climbing and stuff. And I'm assuming you're on the younger side, Glenton, right? And so just try a bunch of different things and try to see what other people are doing. And that's the beauty of YouTube these days, is that you get to see so many interests about like what other people are doing and stuff as well. So that's that. Stephen Hang says, what is your creative process like? So as far as my creative process, I usually document everything in something like Notion. So if I were to show you, like, yeah, this is kind of like my Notion. I organize everything in here. I do all my rough drafts in here and all that sort of stuff. One of the things that I like about Notion as well, and let me kind of change the picture in picture for a second, because I know my face is in the middle. So let's go here. Something I love about Notion is that I just love writing everything. Like I write every single idea over here and just keep on journaling every single day here. So honestly, a lot of it gets cut out because you probably won't see the final product a lot of time, and that's one of the hardest things about creative processes, is just like streams of consciousness, putting things on paper and stuff. Like not everything is interesting. It's like this balance of like try and make something interesting but not overthinking it too much where you get bogged down into weeds. That's where I am right now. I'm like really going through severe writer's block. So right now, I actually bought few books in quarantine. So I bought this book, Long Story Short. It's about how to tell great stories. I bought Stories That Stick by Kendra Hall, and I brought Brand Identity Breakthrough. So I don't know how great these books are quite yet. I've been reading Long Story Short. I'm halfway done. Started it yesterday, almost done with it. So that's pretty much it. But I think one of the things about the creative process too, like if you guys read this book called The Artist's Way, also was reading it this week because been going through hella writer's block, is the morning pages are essential for creatives, like writing down 3 pages every single day. I'm not gonna lie, I've been kind of skipping it as well and not filling my cup there, and also going on artist date, which is a lot more difficult. But every single day I've been going on a hike as well, but it probably doesn't help that I'm just going through extreme burnout right now, just through all the closing and business stuff. Like honestly, I just want to get away from it. I'm actually taking most of the week off just to recharge again, because I'm just not in the mood to really hustle really hard right now. And that's just how I'm feeling, guys. Like real talk. Like I don't know, I just been I wouldn't say been in a bad mood, but I just don't feel like doing anything, and that's very, very weird for me. And so what I will do this week is probably I'll probably go on like a 48-hour fast, and just go into nature every single day, man, and just kind of replenish my cup again and get back into it next week. So that's what I'm doing. How also Steven says, how do you balance process versus results? Really, I mean, I'm not quite sure what you mean by that question, Steven, but in like here's my general thoughts about process and results, right? Everything in your process should drive the results that you want, and I think at the end of the day you have to ask yourself like, okay, if you're not getting the results that you want, there's a few things that's probably going on, but most likely it's your process. There's a break in the process somewhere, right? For example, like let's say if we were to make a and this especially goes for like non-creative arts, right? We're not talking about like creating creating like a show or anything like that. Like take something very practical. Let's take a car for example, right? If there, let's say if I don't know, one of the processes breaks and you're not making doors and all your cars are missing doors, well, that's the break in the process, right? And in terms of business, like it's really being able to control as much as you can and just consistent optimization over time. Because here's the truth. I mean, you can try straight off the gates. Like I'll give you a real life example. When I started closing and stuff like that, I didn't really have much of a process, right? You're giving us like there's some scripts out there. I've tried a lot of different scripts, all that, but I mean, just like any sort of funnel or like marketing funnel, it requires optimization. Just like your jujitsu game, you're not going to be a black belt number day one, but that time with refinement and making things better and better and better, where you get more honed in about that will kind of drive the results that you do want as well. So there's that. If you have a specific question, maybe I can answer it more. But that's kind of like what's been going on in my mind about like process versus results, right? Whatever it really goes with what do you want first, and does your process support that as well, right? Brad Smith says staying inside the house all day is way more dangerous than the virus. When people lack a purpose, they get depressed, turn to alcohol and drugs. Not good. I wouldn't say that is a huge factor, and that is a huge risk factor as well. But to say, I definitely would not say like everyone would resort to those things. But the truth is, like, I mean, suicide rates are gonna go are pretty high. People are getting into a lot of domestic abuse cases and stuff. It's not good to have all this sort of worry and stress, and I am quite worried about like our constitutional rights, to be honest with you guys. Like that's my number one primary concern. People always focus on safety first. Well, here's the truth, man. A lot of people have died for freedom, honestly, and I think if we can take certain precautions and be, for example, gyms, if we can take certain precautions and run these businesses with I don't know, some sort of protocol that will reduce the risk and throw it back on the end population, and just tell them, hey, you know, you are at risk if you're gonna go out. You're at risk like spreading it, and you're also risk contracting it and giving it to your family as well, right? And so if we throw that responsibility on the people, I think like we wouldn't be in this situation. We wouldn't be in such a dire situation right now in terms of panicking and stuff. But I feel bad for a lot of these business owners because this is all they have. I mean, it's not like not everybody's getting unemployment. Not everyone is getting certain benefits, right? So people got families to feed, and if no one's going to feed them, then guess what? They're going to do something illegal anyways. They're going to turn to some sort of crime or something like that as well. So it's a very real thing, and people just don't like feeling trapped. And I don't like, honestly, I think our founding fathers would be rolling their fucking graves if they saw what was happening. Although they probably wouldn't assume that like a virus like this would have really shut down everything. You know, I'm not one of those like COVID deniers or anything like that. I do believe it's very real, but based off the data, is as bad as reported, right? Based off of how we're reporting the data. And that really infuriates me that we're making bad decisions off bad data as well. Like if everything is true, which who knows? I mean, I'm not a specialist in stats or anything like that, but I do have concerns about how we are collecting our data and how the governor of California is really making his decisions as well. Is it really a political thing? Because this isn't the time to be fucking political, guys, right? I don't know. Those are just my thoughts, right? Honestly, move out of California. Well, no, what's really interesting about this, by the way, if you guys by the way, guys, smash that like button if you guys are just tuning in. Would really appreciate the love. But actually, you know what's really interesting about that, Brad? I was thinking about starting up prior to COVID, just to let you guys know, I was actually going to start a new business, but I obviously couldn't do it because of the whole COVID thing. But after this whole COVID thing, I'm actually really thinking about not maybe leaving California because I love jujitsu out here. That's one of the primary motivators, right? But also, like, I was thinking about maybe perhaps moving to a red state because in times of crises like these, it really brings awareness about how business friendly our certain states are versus others, right? And that's just my that's just my thoughts. And I was just like, huh, maybe it's not a great idea to start a more, I wouldn't say a brick and mortar type of business, but it's just to be very cognizant of that as well. Sutton asks, do you ever feel guilty of not using time wisely? In terms of using time wisely, like, I think there's a fallacy is like, especially when you're a lot younger, like, I noticed this with some of my team members as well, like some people in my group, in my inner circle, they believe that they should be doing, they want to feel busy, right? They want to be spinning their wheels and doing something more. But sometimes the truth is doing more is not the solution. And I fall into this too sometimes. And it really comes down to having absolute clarity about the results that you want. That's the one thing I'm asking myself is just like, you can't focus. I've tried focusing on multiple things at a time and it just doesn't work. Like this week, I purely focused on kick-ass investing. I'm like, what, 95% done with the course. I got to shoot some of the videos, reshoot some of the videos over again. But in terms of the basic framework, I almost completed it this week. And I was really, really, really happy with it. So when I'm feeling burnt out and I'm feeling tired, I mean, I can also I can be like, hey, I'm not a lazy person. I just need like some time. I just put in a lot of hours, not only like my closing client, but also into this project that is going to result in massive wins. It's going to help people change their lives and stuff like that. So, in terms of feeling guilty, not necessarily, to be honest with you. It's weird. I've been trying to work on my intuitive masculine nature, and I know that sounds kind of fucking woo woo, but hear me out, guys. In terms of masculinity and stuff, like masculine, if you ever read Way of Superior Man, they talk about masculinity, purpose, and stuff like that as well, right? And so part of masculinity is really being able to trust your intuition. And for myself, and if you've grown up in an Asian household, you guys might, not all Asian households are like this, but if you guys might relate to this, is that when I was growing up, everything that I wanted to do, I was yelled at pretty much by my own father and stuff. So growing up, I never really had any strong male role models or anything like that. I really had to kind of teach myself and learn from others outside of my family about how to be a leader, how to be a man. And I'm still learning, guys. Like, I'm not a pro at it. But with that being said, because of that, imagine like being in a household where everything that you do is criticized. Everything that you do is wrong according to a person, and you're always fighting, justifying yourself to your own family and shit. And it really gets at you. You like when you grow up, become an adult. That's why we have questions like, "Oh, should I do pharmacy or not?" Right? It really comes down to like, those aren't the right questions to be asking, and people are seeking approval from others to answer that question. Really, you should be asking. You should kind of follow your gut more about like, okay, what are some of the contributing factors that I need to figure out to make the best decision for myself? Because the truth is, no one can make that decision for you, right? Maybe certain information might affect the way that you make your decision. For example, if you knew that the life balance for a pharmacist was really shit, like I'm actually talking to a lot of my friends in pharmacy school. A lot of them were saying like, dude, I'm trying to look for something that is more, because a lot of them are female. They're saying that I'm looking for something that has better life balance, right? For me and my family, and pharmacy is soul sucking. That's what literally today my friend told me in pharmacy said. It's it's that kind of information that will help you decide like what's best for yourself. And so really it goes back to to circle back to your question, Seton, it's really trusting your gut, knowing that, hey, you know, there's a time for getting after it, but there's also the dichotomy of relaxing as well too. So yeah. I can elaborate further. So for me, when I try creative ventures, I tend to give up, stop, because I don't see instant results, and it's hard. Steven, by the way, Danzer says, new subscriber, where are you located? I'm in SoCal. I'm in SoCal too. I'm in the LA area. I used to live in K-Town, but live in a new area. By the way, smash that like button, guys. Would appreciate it. Steven says, I can elaborate further, blah blah blah. And that's the thing, man. It's having the patience to, so this is why, like, okay, so this is why it's really important to understand like the time frame that you're trying to hit. Like for things like creative ventures like YouTube, all that sort of stuff, we're not looking at a month timeline, we're not looking at a 6-month timeline, we're looking at a few years actually, right? Essentially, to grow your channel, like if you're like, I'll tell you this, if you're looking at growing a channel, don't look at my channel, because my channel is not optimized for business growth channel, right? It really, the purpose of this channel was always personal, was more recently personal brand, and I just love talking about certain shit, so that's what I do. But my kick-ass investing channel, I'm actually growing from 0 to it's gonna outpace my normal channel because it's very niche, very focused. But I also know that if I want that channel to grow, I need to be able to talk about that topic for about 2 to 3 years straight. And I need to know the priorities of that business. So right now, in terms of kick-ass investing, I'm not really focused on creating content at the moment on that side, because I saw initial growth, which is great, but where my majority of my things should go is like really serving the people. So what's going to serve the people? Is it more content? Sure, that might help people, but what's really going to help them is really developing out a full-blown course and a kick-ass free course that I'm going to make completely free as well. Those are the things that are going to move the needle. Those are the things that are going to really help people and impact people. But this isn't a month-long plan. This is going to be a 2, 3, 5 year type of plan as well. So if I'm committing to this, I really have to commit to it as well. And so having a perspective of long-term goals is really important, but also making sure that you're selecting the right key performance indicators as well. Like things like, for example, what are the certain lead measures that are going to make impact in your business? Why do you want to do certain things? What are certain things that you can keep on top of? Maybe it's video uploads per week. Maybe it's what's that called? Watch time for YouTube, things like that. I think it's really important to identify what's really going to move the needle for y'all. Brad says California is horrible for state business. They want to tax the shit out of the hardest workers. Just my opinion. Looking to move to Texas or Florida. Let us know if you know anything about these states. Texas is great, no state income tax. Also, Arizona is really great too. I don't know for business, but I know Texas is a pretty solid state, by the way. So, yeah. How old are you? I'm 32 now. It's crazy. It's really crazy that I'm 32 years old. Fuck, dude. I turned 32 in quarantine, and honestly, it's crazy, man. Like, I never thought, I always think of myself a lot younger, but more recently, especially in quarantine, I've been doing a lot more introspection and really been realizing I'm not as young as I really think I am. Like, I've been getting like L5, S1 hip pain and stuff like that. Just because I'm not doing yoga or any of that sort of stuff, not as much. I mean, I do like YouTube yoga, which is great and all, but honestly, that's like trying to learn MMA and fucking watching like UFC. That's not gonna fucking happen for most people, right? You're not gonna become world. There's only one way to be good at things, is through repetition. That's why I'm so aggravated, like in quarantine as well. It's just like, fuck, dude. I just want to train. I just want to get back on the wheel and just like add value to people, because honestly, I'm making impact the way I do like in my room, but it's not filling my own cup. And when my needs aren't taken care of, that's when I have a problem, and that's when I can't give to others as much, right? Like, honestly, I'll be completely honest with you guys. Like, for the last fucking 2 weeks, I've been sitting in front of my computer trying to write like the weekly hustle, guys. It's been really, really hard, and for some reason, I can't come up with the creative juices for it, and it's been driving me fucking crazy. It's like you're in this rut, you want to do something about it. When you try to do something about it, you're making it worse, and you have to step away. You're just like, fuck. When does this resistance get through it? I plow through it a little bit each and every day, but it's really overwhelming, and I'm just like really burnt out at the moment. Sutton says, "You're my role model." Really appreciate it, Sutton, man. I really appreciate you too, man. Because I recognize your name. You're OG. You're actually considered a moderator on this channel too, because of the trolls and shit. But really appreciate you too, man. And I was like asking myself, why am I still doing this channel? Like, as a 32-year-old, do I really want to be talking about everything that's going on in my life? Do I really have exciting stories anymore? Not as much, but I know that I can help a lot of people still, I don't have plans on being like million subscribers or anything like that. It'd be cool, but honestly, that's not my primary focus. I just really want to help a lot more people as well. Kevin-san, why are there so many Chicken Little people who insist COVID is super dangerous and the world is now a poisonous wasteland? How would you talk to people like this? I don't. I just avoid them, honestly. Like, it's not worth it. And you'll see like certain it just shows you the character of people. Like, for me, I was never living in fear. Like, honestly, if it fucking kills me, it's meant to be. But I'm not gonna live in fear, because that's the whole point of this country. It's to be free. But I do understand the implications of like spreading the virus. But now that we've been in this for a little bit longer, and other states are starting to open up, I don't. It really just frustrates me that to see people I know, other business owners, like even my local businesses, struggling because they can't fucking open because the state says that they're non-essential. And what is considered essential and non-essential, right? It's so subjective. And you'll see like, and guess what? No one was prepared for this. I get it, but man, like, it's what we've been in quarantine for about 2-3 months. It's kind of ridiculous what's happening, in my opinion, about the communication, about all this sort of stuff too. Imagine being a business owner, be like, you're phase 3, you're just like, fuck, it's like so close, but I don't know when everything's gonna happen. What's the clear guideline of everything? You just feel like you're being babied around. There's nothing that you can do, even if you wanted to take extra precautions to like, okay, let's have these cleaning like until everything settles down. Let's have these extra cleaning protocols and stuff. It takes the power away from the people. I think that's really debilitating to a lot of people as well. Brad says, have you ever traveled outside the US? Would you ever consider living outside the US? Yeah, I would consider living outside the US. I wanted to live in Thailand for a little bit. I have lived in like Hong Kong for like half a year and stuff. That was pretty cool. It's very eye-opening. It's I miss that, actually. One of my things that I want to do is actually go back to Hong Kong. I wouldn't consider mainland China, to be honest with you, but I want to go back to Hong Kong, relearn some like Cantonese, get it back, man. Just really devote myself, make money over there, run my remote businesses from there, and just have a blast, man. Like, after all these fucking years, man, I feel like I've worked very hard, have I worked smart all the time? Not necessarily, but I've come a long way since like I graduated pharmacy school, guys. And not even pharmacy school, from that high school kid who was always insecure, who didn't believe he could get women, or had very low self-worth, who asked himself like, what is the point of living? Like, would anybody fucking care if I were to go, I think I've come a long way, man. And not asking for like acceptance from other people, but like looking at myself, I'm like, damn, Kevin, you have come a long way. And am I where I want to be? Absolutely not. But I think part of it too, like part of getting being older as well, and is like being able to appreciate your own accomplishments and stuff without necessarily, I don't know, for some reason, like when you say like I'm proud of myself, some people take it as like you're a narcissist and all that sort of shit. But honestly, it's part of it's part of a healthy relationship with yourself. We always talk about relationships between like friends, family, and all that. If you had a negative motherfucker who was trash talking you all the time, what do you think you would do with them? Probably cut them out of your life, honestly, right? And so, you can't treat yourself the same way. You have to, like, if you make a huge win, you gotta really celebrate. But if you take a huge L too, you gotta take responsibility for that too. There's plenty of times where I made very poor decisions, extremely poor decisions, but I am where I am today because I made those both those fuck up and successes too, man. So those are my thoughts. Um, I've heard in Southeast Asia all is right and real cheap. It is pretty cheap. My friend Matt, he loves living out there. He enjoys it. I have a few other friends who are still out in who live out in Asia too. So great stuff over there. But honestly, going to another country kind of forces you to take a step back and just realize, like, man, there's so much about the world that I don't know. And that's why I'm just like, man, like right now, I think when all this COVID is done, I'm going to make sure to travel somewhere. Maybe I'll do jujitsu somewhere else and stuff. Not leave 10th Planet. I love 10th Planet, but I'm not gonna let something like jujitsu, like I can continue my jujitsu journey and also travel around the world and create experiences too. Because I mean, I'm not gonna lie, I can't remember the last time I told stories on this channel because honestly, I won't say nothing interesting happens in my life, but nothing interesting happens in terms of like when I'm talking normal people. If I were to talk to you about, oh, high ticket closing stories, this happened. Oh my god, they actually bought, or like this shady ass motherfucker actually stole from their client. Like I have tons of stories like that. But like in terms of everyday stories, not so much because honestly, I haven't been really living that much. Philippines, Thailand, Vietnam. Vietnam, by the way, growing spot. It's gonna be lit, son. So yeah. Uh Good Vibe says, do you dabble with COVID-19 conspiracy theories? If so, what are your favorite? I don't really dabble too much in conspiracy theories. I mean, I'm always very open to different point of views, but it's easy to get sucked in the rabbit hole too. Keep in mind, I mean, I go to Eddie Bravo's school, so Eddie Bravo is a really big believer in conspiracy theory, but I don't go into it as well. And I think the thing about conspiracy theories too, you always gotta be very, very careful about like, you gotta be careful about confirmation bias, right? Because then you start looking for things that confirm your existing beliefs, and then it gets deeper and deeper, and you get more stubborn as well. It's important to keep an open mind. I always have one ear open as well, like listening to people's points, and I'll ask them certain things, but I never just accept anything at face value anymore, honestly. Arizona is the best for racist laws, says silly Stella. I make an impact in my room, millennial. Actually, honestly, probably like the only fans accounts, man. Like I wouldn't be surprised if that happened. Depends on your definition of impact. Impact can mean so many different things. Yeah, you're right. It's a very subjective type of term. And so, I mean, like sometimes making impact could be on a very granular level where it's like I want to give my child, I want to be best damn dad ever, right? That could be a impact as well. And I'll be honest with you, I think for me, I'm still navigating through that. That's why I refuse to settle down in a relationship right now. I refuse to do a lot of things because, um, you know, I'm trying to find the purpose that I want to leave on this world. I've been looking for it for a long time. I feel like I'm closer to it, and this is just like instinctual, but I'm not there yet. And until I know my purpose, then I can align everything around that. Is You can ask. It makes everything, when you have a clear north star or direction, then you can ask, hey, does this person, do they, even though they're a great person, I love hanging out with them, all that sort of stuff. They're probably a great mother of my children. But then you can ask your questions like, well, does this person support or take away from my end goal, my end purpose, right? So that's you have a lot more clarity about what's right or wrong in your situation. There is no right or wrong in general, right? It's all context, right? You need to understand like where you're trying to go. It's like going on a trip, right? Let's say if you want to go on a vacation and I don't know, you're just like, fuck, dude, I just want to go somewhere where it's warm. Well, you could end up in the Sahara Desert, or you could be in Southern California or Hawaii, right? But those are all very, very different places. None is good or bad, but it's what you want, and you have to know what destination you're going to, right? So that's some of the things that are on my mind about impact. Would 32-year-old Kevin get along with 22-year-old Kevin? What are a few things you tell 22-year-old Kevin? Man, I definitely am not as ratchet as I was in when I was 22 years old. 22, I was pretty fucking ratchet, and I was very like people approval seeking as well. During that time, um, honestly, the like I don't even know the what I would really tell myself, to be honest. Like if I were to tell someone who is also 22 years old, um, it's like, I mean, here's the truth, guys. Like, if you feel like you're lacking purpose, and I've come to better terms with this as well. Like, if you feel like you're lacking purpose, don't know what you want to do in life. I mean, damn it, that's where you're supposed to be. That's exactly where you're supposed to be honest with you, right? You're not supposed to know. Like, some people comes to you automatically, right? But there is a process of finding out what you want to do in life, and not letting other people sway necessarily sway you because, I don't know, because of what they want. I mean, it's very like, that's why I'm very cautious about telling people whether to do pharmacy or not to do pharmacy, because honestly I had a very negative experience doing pharmacy altogether. But somebody else could have a really positive experience doing pharmacy too, you know? And so it really depends what they want, but they have to, no one can tell them what to do. They have to figure it out themselves essentially, right? So I don't know, man. In terms of advice, maybe not work so fucking hard and just really take the time to block out more play. I think one of the things that I was lacking at 22 was like really good organization skills. Focus. The focus part is really hard, and that's one of the hardest parts for like younger people to not get through their head, but to really like they understand the concept of focus, but to really internalize what focus means. I mean, I would say more recently I've been better at focus per se, right? About what I want, what am I working on right now? I've been better at saying no and not overcommitting to too many things at once, right? Um, but like I definitely know 22-year-old Kevin was all the fucking all over the fucking place as well. The first thing that Kevin would tell his younger self is smash that like button. Hell yeah, that's right. Dude, I think even back during YouTube when I was 22, there wasn't even such a thing as a YouTube like button. That's crazy, right? Like it was like the OG like YouTube layout and stuff like that. I'm not gonna lie, I miss the OG YouTube layout. It was a very real platform. I felt like creators were just real, but now like even my content, I have to play the algorithm sometimes, right? I can't always be like my, not say be my real self, but you can tell things are a little bit scripted these days. Like, back in the day there were the vlogs, there were people just talking about real shit. And I feel like YouTube wasn't as a toxic place as it is now. I think it's actually, I turn off a lot of my comments because I just realized how fucking different I am from a lot of people, to be honest with you. Like, not to say that in an arrogant way or anything like that, but I'm just different these days from a lot of people. Like, I don't like, it's hard for me to, like, I understand where people are coming from when they make certain arguments, but I also realize that people aren't, not intelligent enough. That's not the right word, but they're not experienced enough to really take a step back and see perspectives from other people and then just like listen to the other side as well. And so I see it all the time. I see all these like fucking YouTube beefs, and I see people not understand certain things like sarcasm and all these little social cues. It's pretty funny about the next generation as well. We're gonna see what's gonna happen, but I definitely know that with the younger generation, there are a lot of social dynamics or social interaction is going to be a huge challenge for the next generation, from what I've noticed talking through younger kids as well, right? Um okay. Damn, getting a lot of comments and stuff. Appreciate it, y'all. For those 6 people who haven't, make sure to smash that like button, says Armor Ghost as well. Hey man, I expect the living hell of how far you become and what you do on this channel. Really appreciate it. Kevin Garnett, and I'm assuming just like the basketball player. What are you doing to make revenue these days? I have a so here's some of the different ways I make revenue or make money at the moment. Most of my income comes from high ticket closing. I do have a few affiliate deals as well that are ongoing. Like for example, OmniShaver, I get quite a bit through that. Um, what are some other affiliates? There are a few other affiliates that I get as well. Obviously, AdSense on this channel. I haven't really gotten to make course sales more recently, but that's been because I put everything on hold for kick-ass investing. Obviously, Amazon affiliates as well. I get a lot of those. And that's pretty much most of my immediate cash flow income. Obviously, the S&P 500 and all that sort of stuff, like my investments and all that sort of stuff, that's another, but I don't really count that, to be honest with you. So, I mean, I have several, but hey, by the way, you want to know something else that I've been thinking about recently? It's like, dude, how bullshit are all these videos about? Here's my 13 streams of income. It doesn't, guys, it doesn't matter how many fucking streams of income you guys have. Like, I could buy one S&P 500 mutual fund, and guess what? That's technically 500 streams of income, right? Like, or I can have 501. I can even ask my mom about like, hey mom, can I borrow $10, right? You can consider that another stream of income. But you gotta ask yourself, how many of these streams of income are actually relevant and will actually make an impact as well? And so it's just really it's interesting to see how people get their money and stuff like that. But I've just been seeing this trend and this over, I don't know, like for some reason people think more is better, and that's not always the case. Yes, maybe it's a little more diversified, but if it's not making a significant impact to who cares about it, right? If you're only getting a fucking dollar, who cares about that shit, right? So there's that. But I would say and plus I have old clients that pay me continuously because of ongoing deals as well. So there's cash flow through that. So that's pretty much all my sources of income at the moment. I am planning to parlay that or to invest some sort of a bit of that cash into a more cash flow business, because with things like closing, some days will do really really well, or some weeks will do super well, other weeks will fucking shit the bed so hard. We'll fucking, it's not that great, you know. For example, we had like $2,000 or $3,000 week one week, and like last week, because the ads got fucked up, we got $75 that week. That was very discouraging. Luckily I had some other deals pull through different other accounts and stuff like that, or other streams of revenue that were unexpected, by the way, which was really great. It balanced each other out. But man, that was it's that, if you can't handle volatility as well, and how much things fluctuate, man, entrepreneurship is not for you guys, right? And I think the more the more deeper I get into this, the more I realize it's not for a lot of people. There's so many people who are scared of risk. And if you are scared of risk, don't jump into entrepreneurship. It's not for you. Save yourself the headache, because when you see your income fluctuate that much, right, then you're gonna panic, right, as well. So yeah. I will always respect Kevin for having the balls to quit pharmacy. Thank you, silly Stella, man. Really appreciate it. And I appreciate you guys who still stick with me after the whole pharmacy thing, man. I don't really, like, obviously I'm not in pharmacy anymore, and you guys don't have to follow me, but a lot of you guys choose to do that. And what I want to do going forward is, like, when I start this next business model, we're going to shoot it real time. So I'm going to show you how, like, I wanted to take you from A to Z, because I didn't really do it with closing, because it's a little more sensitive. You're dealing with clients and stuff. Next business model, like, I want to take you guys step by step, so I can actually show pharmacists like exactly what I'm doing and really document everything that goes right, everything that goes wrong with this next business model. But first things first, COVID got to open up first, because I can't do jack shit in quarantine, you know. Would you recommend a white guy live in an Asian country? I mean, race doesn't really matter, man. Like, I say just fucking do it if you really want to do it, man. So here before 11K says Jason, man. Funny stuff. Do you think the pandemic was overblown? Do I think the pandemic was overblown to us? I mean, I think like we took the right precautions during that time, essentially, but I feel like the reporting of data and all that, it's questionable. Like I find it very, very questionable. Like how everything, like some of the data that we collected, some of the decisions that we had as well. So I don't know. We didn't know what we were dealing with. So I think we did a good job of like taking a step back, just trying to see what our situation was. But in terms of like leaving our country shut down for this long, I'm not a huge agreement of that as well. Brad Smith asks, what do you think of Joe Rogan signing $100 million contract to be exclusive with Spotify? So I'm not gonna lie, I was actually really pissed at first. I was like, dude, what a fucking sellout and all that sort of stuff. That was my gut reaction because I don't use Spotify, right? And if I were to continue to listen to Joe Rogan, I would have to go onto Spotify as well. But the more I gave it some thought, I think it was actually it sucks to have him leave the YouTube platform, but the truth is, things like YouTube, they do filter out content, whether you want to call it censorship or not. In my opinion, it is a form of censorship, but I think it was a really good decision for Joe to do something like that. He collected the bag, and it's really gonna help YouTube wake its ass up and just be like, hey guys, there's other competitors. If you're not gonna fulfill the needs of these creators, guess what? They're gonna jump onto other platforms as well. And I guarantee like you'll see more and more of these plays where people will lock down big creators into into contracts as well, or different platforms, just like different TV channels, right? YouTube is not the only player in town. Yes, because they're connected to Google, that is great, but honestly, like it's gonna be a good thing for the industry as well. So I was first against it, but now I'm leaning more for it. And great for Joe. Like if Joe Rogan actually hit those numbers and shit, like if he did it, then what's stopping any of us from doing the same thing as well, right? I think that's really great stuff, man. By the way, Seton, really appreciate you moderating the comments. By the way, really appreciate you, bud. Um, Mike says, I think one stream of income is 1 million better than 10 streams of income adding up to 50,000, right? Like that's what I'm saying, right? Like honestly, uh obviously you don't want to be focused all on one source of income, but what you want to do is see one income stream full out, really focus on it, grow that, and then jump on to the next one, right? Like for myself, like closing I'm pretty decent at now, like where it's I consider the project to be completed, so I can move on to another project. And that's why I'm trying so hard to finish Kick-Ass Investing, because I want to finish that project to completion, start focusing on the content, move it to completion, and move on to the next project, right? Because you can't focus on dude, there's only so many hours in the day. Like if you're to focus on 13 streams of income, like how much time do you really have to dedicate to all those if you're just starting out? Are you like, it takes time, effort, energy to kind of bring those into fruition, and it takes a while to be on autopilot. For example, something like Amazon FBA could take up to like half a year for that to happen. And imagine if you were to start like other business models too. That's a lot of work. Not everybody has that amount of time. So I would not be jealous of people who have so many streams of income, right? For example, let's take a high income, like let's take a job, for example, right? Let's take a I don't know, a partner at EY. I think they make 800. My friend was telling me they make $800,000 per year or some shit like that. You can Google it, by the way, something like that. Type in partner, EY salary or whatever, and they get bonuses on top of that. So if you guys were making 800,000, I mean, would you want that, or would you want 13 streams of income that are barely pulling in any revenue for yourself, right? Or any income for yourself? I pick the partner level income any day, man. So I agree with you, Mike. You're a smart guy. So yeah. Evolutionarily speaking, do you think men and women aren't supposed to live together like they do in the US? That's a good question. Um I guess like I Well, I think they were like obviously there were they in my opinion. I think from an evolution point of view, men and women were always meant to live together, right? Because there's that feminine energy and that masculine energy, and that's just part of relationships, whether friends, romantic, whatever type of relationship. And we got when I say masculine and feminine energy, like it's not in a sexual way. It's kind of like masculine energy is always creating, right? But when you create shit, sometimes you destroy shit, right? It's like when you're building a house, you go to a construction site, man, not very nourishing place, right? But when you go into somewhere like Mother Nature, go meditate, retreat, Mother Nature, and spending time in outdoors, that is a very feminine type of energy. It's very nurturing as well, and so you need a balance of both. I think both both are needed in society, and obviously, do hormones have to play come into play? Probably, and I think that's the only way for a society to work, because think about it like this: you have two friends, both in very masculine energy. They're gonna butt heads. Usually, like roles can switch too. Like you can be alpha male and still do have very feminine energy as like at times, right? Where it's like, hey, you know, I'm going to take care of my kid. I'm going to take care of this person because I want to, right? That's a very nurturing type of thing where you're filling someone's cup versus emptying your cup, you know? So yeah. Uh someone said, is HTC still worth it at its current price point? Honestly, I have not looked at HTC in the longest freaking time. Um I don't know. It really depends, man. Like if you feel like it'll really help you, that'd be great. But honestly, like these days, I'm leaning toward like, programs are great. Sales programs are great too. But honestly, nothing beats experience, and I think experience trumps everything. Like honestly, the reason why I got to where I am today in terms of sales isn't because of it's not because of like a program that I took. It was really because now that I'm older, like in kind of like away from the program, I feel like the experience was a lot better. Like the experience was what really grew me, not the program. So it really depends. I don't even know what the new price point is. I think it's 10K. I probably would not pay 10K for HTC. That's just me, right? That's my opinion. I'll stick to that. But I also don't know what's happening in HTC these days either. Are California's not openly defying lockdown yet? I mean, I do all the time, man. Um, let's see. Let's see more of the comments. Man. How do I become rich as fuck as a pharmacist? I'm crying right now. Oh, dude. Honestly, if you want to be rich, don't be a pharmacist, man. Like, go into something else. Go into consulting. Go into something else. Sell your soul to the devil. But honestly, being a rich pharmacist is not. I don't believe that's the way to go. There's too much regulation. Even starting up your own pharmacy, very risky play. I wouldn't say risky play, but it's not the smartest move. I would just go into something like business and maybe try go for consulting or something like that, or investment banking. They make crazy fucking money, and go into that if you're in it for the money, right? I don't know why you want to be rich and a pharmacist like as well. So Kevin, how do you get your daily exercise? Well, recently, so I have a T-bar kettlebell thing. I would lift it up, but I'm scared that I'm going to drop it and break the floor. I already cracked one of the tiles in this room doing it, but I do swings every single day, or I try to do swings every day. Try to do yoga at least 10 to 50 minutes per day. I do have door pull-up things. I actually have a video on this too. But honestly, it's not the same. It's not the same as going to the gym. It's not the same as doing jujitsu with my buds. Not the same at all. I also go hiking a lot recently. Now that the trails have opened, I just go for a walk. And I also go walk on the treadmill a lot too. So that's what I've been doing for the most part. Uh, Silver Talks. What's up, Kevin? Good to see you're doing well. Where do you think our economy is going right now? By the way, Johnny, I actually hit you up, man. Hit me back up like when you get a chance. Like I would love to just chat with you, bro. Dude, So I've been reading a lot of articles and it's not looking too good. Everybody says it's gonna go down the shitter. To be honest, I'm not very worried about, like, I am concerned about our economy. That's why I want everything to open up. But I think once we open our economy, yes, are we gonna head toward depression levels? Maybe, right? But obviously, as we both know, Johnny, like over the long term, we'll be just fine. Everything will work out, and we're lucky that we're not in. And if you are young like us, uh, it means that there's a lot of great sales. I mean, people are in distress. That means opportunity for us. So I I see a call me an opportunist. I don't care, but I see a lot of opportunities where I can just help people get really great deals on things, and just flip like disaster into opportunities, man. So yeah, that's my thoughts, I guess. I'm 50-50 on men and women living together, but they should not share a bedroom 24/7. Everyone needs their own bedroom for privacy and sanity. Two people sharing a bedroom is arrested. Yeah, yeah, that's true. Like I need my own space. I think everybody needs their own space. Um, it's just like, dude, I don't know. Like I feel like I'm in prison all the time. I'm by myself. Imagine if I had one more person. Fuck, dude, I'd be crazy, going crazy right now. What the hell? He's charging 25K for 5 weeks HTC now. Holy shit, that is a lot of money. 25K. I wonder who's buying that. I don't know. I don't know what's changed in HTC. So maybe if you're gonna land a huge opportunity where you can close, maybe it might be worth it. But honestly, we're looking at. I mean, we're looking at a mini franchise at this point, right? Like usually it's 50 to 100K to buy into a franchise and all that. I mean, is it really worth it for 25? And you're just getting a high income skill. What Dan Locke says. So I'm not I'm not convinced that it's completely worth it. Have I made that much more? Have I made that 25 plus K more after that? Yeah, fuck yeah, I have. But like, at a certain point, it's like diminishing returns. Is knowledge really the gap that you need? And can can I'm not saying that you should acquire it through books. I'm saying that anybody, by the way, anybody that says that you can acquire sales skills or any of that shit, marketing through books is a fucking retard, by the way. Like, there's no freaking way that you can do that. What you need, like, experience is the number one thing. Like, that's why I encourage younger people, like, hey, take a sales job, take a high ticket, like, inbound sales job, go into marketing, work for someone who's knowledgeable, because that will be the best transfer of knowledge rather than paying 25K to someone else. You can pay yourself 25K and learn that knowledge as well. OJT. So I think that's really important. And unless it's like direct mentorship, maybe I would consider it. Probably, most likely, I probably wouldn't even consider it. I'm a huge fan of high ticket programs, by the way, but from my experience of, if he's made zero changes, I would not do it. But I don't know. Like, at the end of the day, programs, all this sort of shit, it changes with time, right? Like, I don't think people realize that. Like, people are like, oh, it's not worth it. Well, how do you know that? How do you know that Dan Locke hasn't changed his product service offering? You don't know, right? There's so many people just jumping on this fucking bandwagon. But at the same time, I'm not exactly pro Dan Locke either at this point, right? Like, I mean, I I felt like some of the things were under delivered at times, right? And that's no shot at Dan Locke, but I just felt like that's my experience. I bought his programs, and that's what I felt. I thought HTC was an amazing program, but if you're asking me to pay 25K for it, I would probably have some hesitation. Knowing what I know now, like, maybe I would have paid 25K, knowing exactly, like, I got to meet some of my best friends. I got to meet these really great clients and stuff like that. World class people. Like, maybe, like, if that was an absolute guarantee. There's no absolute guarantee though. It's a program. Who fucking knows? But it's gonna be interesting. Uh, isn't salary six figures right away though? No. Well, dude, look at the Bureau of Labor statistics. Like, it's going down, dude. And if you talk to, well, I'm not sure if it's updated on the Bureau of Labor statistics. Sorry if I'm wrong about that. But I know, like, in certain states, certain places, they're only paying, like, new pharmacists like 50K per year, or per hour. So let's say 50K, 50 times, I don't know, we'll assume 40-hour work week times. Yeah, basic, like that's basic. I guess that is six figures. But here's the truth: like, pay is going down. I don't. If you're just going into pharmacy right now, what do you guys think pay will be in a good 6 or 7 years? And there are no, according to BLS, they're saying that there's no jobs available at like there's little to no job growth at the moment. So do what you want, man, Kevin. Like, I would highly recommend that you look at something else, maybe like PA if you want to do healthcare or something like that as well. So yeah, sure, I'll do that. Appreciate it, man. People are saying colleges are a ripoff. At least you can get financial aid. 25 out of pocket. This dude has no shame. Yeah, I know. You're telling me. I mean, yeah, there are ways to pay for it, but at that point, like, I'm not looking for. Okay, so at 25K, we're not even in the ballpark. I could literally start up something like an Amazon business, fail a few fucking times, and still make a profit at the end. Here's the thing about closing that no one tells you: you're still exchanging time for money, essentially. Not always. Like, certain deals that I have, like, it worked really well because I get residual, right? I get like anywhere from $300 to $500 residual every single month, which is great. It pays for my rent, and makes sure that I always come. I'm never starving, right? That's essentially the point of, that's a great thing, right? But on most days, like, if you don't have those deals lined up, then guess what? You're still exchanging time for money. So I would not pay 25K for just to learn a sales skill at the moment, right? Maybe at my stage of my life, right? I wouldn't do it. I would look at it into a more scalable business model, because that's what you can get for 25K as well, right? 2,500 versus 25K, huge difference, but it's subjective. I mean, people will pay what they're going to pay. I'm not saying if it's worth it or not. Let's let the market determine that. That's not for me to decide, right? If people think it's worth it, great. For me, I would not drop 25K for it. Dan Locke is the biggest fraud ever. I unsubscribe from his spam emails ASAP. Well, I'll tell you this. What that program was really great for, because everything I said in the previous like reviews, that was all legit. That I did feel that way. But I will tell you guys this. It was the most important thing that I got from that program was the community. The community back then. The community now is like fucking horrible. They will pitch you. I still get fucking messages of people spamming me. I tell them go fuck off, and I block their ass, dude. Like, I do not want to be pitched. I do not want to. That's why I've been deleting people who have their Dan Locke thing up, because I don't want to be associated with that crowd. It's such a bad community now. But when we first started, it was amazing. I met so many high level performers and stuff like that. I loved it. And some of those people were still all really great friends. I don't think there's bad people. Like, those are just like the bad apples in that program. But it was a great transformational type of mindset type of program. But I mean, no matter how good a mindset program is, there's obviously other great mindset programs out there that you can probably buy them all for at least and still treat yourself to a trip to Hawaii or Bali, and still have room to like play as well for 25K, by the way, guys. So that is a huge chunk of change. But some people can afford it. Sometimes people don't. It don't matter to people as well too. But I think there's better uses of your money. Oh, Brad was like, I was kidding about the 25K. Wow. So I was bashing him. I think it's 10K, to be honest with you, right? Are his books useful? I really like FU Money. I think that is a really great book. Like, that book is good. I never read Unlock It or anything like that. I have so many books, man. I'm getting past that point where it's just like I'm reading books for fuck's sake. I want to read books with a purpose, right? So that's why I read a lot of like copywriting books. Like, I've been reading a lot of psychology books. I've been reading like this book, Advertising, brushing up on my copywriting, certain things like that. And I think like those books are useful. Like his FU Money, that was a really good book, right? But I can't really say his other books. Tiffany Thor asks, are you still practicing as a pharmacist, keeping your license active? Well, I have my license still active. As far as practicing as a pharmacist, I don't ever intend on doing that. just because I wasn't happy. You know, there was a when this whole COVID thing happened, I was actually thinking about whether I should go like into the California Health Corp says core as well, because they needed some healthcare providers and all that sort of stuff. But I was just like, honestly, is this really worth my time? Like, yeah, I mean, you get paid, all this sort of stuff, but honestly, I'm making more money. Like, I think I would be making more money just investing into my own things instead. That time is more important for me at this moment, and more importantly, I can make more impact by filling my cup first before going into back to pharmacy, which is something I don't really feel that passionate about anymore. So yes, I am keeping my license active. Practice as a pharmacist? No, not yet. Probably $40 an hour in 5 years with all the new schools that open, but yet to graduate their class. Yeah, I highly would recommend you like people to reconsider going to pharmacy. You know, I'm not telling people don't do it, but fucking reconsider. Look at the data really quick. Like the stats data for future jobs is not looking too hot, guys. So, I mean, people can get mad at me, just be like, oh, you're saying I can't become a pharmacist. I didn't say that. I'm just saying like, honestly, like you're fighting an uphill road, and if you don't know that going forward, or if you're too immature to really accept that data coming from the government, you know, maybe you don't trust the government, but for stats data like this, I do. You know, like I think it's something that people are talking about in the industry, and it's just verified through the government stats as well. So, you know, take it for what it is. If you don't want to believe me, go into pharmacy, spend that, I don't know, 200K, and then come out realizing that, oh shit, there's no jobs. And guess what? If you're right, you're right. Great. You know, if you really want to be a pharmacist, great. I encourage you guys to go down that route. But knowing, one caveat, knowing that it might be an uphill road and that you need to strategize appropriately if you want to get that dream job of yours as well as a pharmacist, right? So, yeah. Savage Kev, chill. Reaction. These gurus shoot themselves in the foot all the time now. When you censor false copyright, dox people, you're breaking the law, killing every ounce of your credibility, shaking your head. Well, I will tell you this though. Something that these fake guru channels always forget is like, dude, it could be so much worse. They can sue you for defamation, because what people don't realize, because I went through this recently, right? In terms of copyright and all that sort of stuff. If you're making a statement, so what's the word? Free, what's it? Oh man, why am I blanking out? It's like caffeine, fair use. Yeah, dude, these caffeine like fucking farts right now. Holy crap. By the way, smash that like button as well for those 5 people who haven't. Okay, shameless plug over. But for fair use, I mean, you can't be, defamation is not part of it. You can't make false claims on people. What these fake channels don't realize is that, dude, they have every single right to fucking actually take you to court over this as well, right? And so that's something that's important. I think some of these channels are overly negative. Like, come on, guys, you're gonna fucking make a claim that you lost 50,000. Like, okay, I saw this CoffeeZilla video, right? This guy claimed that he lost $50,000 in opportunity costs. Motherfucker, that is not high. That is not a hard cost, guys, right? That's like saying like, oh, eventually I'm gonna be a millionaire, so I'm worth like multi-millions of dollars. Go fuck yourself, dude. You know, like HTM, if you paid all up front, that was 25K. Okay, I didn't pay that much, by the way. I was like, I don't even know what this is. I'm gonna see what it's like for a month and maybe drop out, right? That's what I did. And like maybe inner circles, like, I don't know, $2,000, $200 per month, and then HTC is 2,500. That is so far off from the $50,000 thing. So that's like, in my opinion, that's almost kind of like a false claim if you're saying that you lost $50,000. And it's like, dude, these people have the right to fucking sue you because, one, you were not a student, and you're making all these claims. So how do you know if these are true or not, right? So I think we're seeing a trend in these guru bashing, but honestly, it's not the way that YouTube should be intended for, right? Like drama is negativity. It does not look good in front of advertisers as well. And so these people are actually leeching off the hard work of gurus. Now, but I will argue on the other side too that there are a lot of deceptive marketing practices too, from the guru side. But that's the government's fault. That's what the FTC is for. Like they need to be monitoring false like earnings claims, all this sort of stuff too, right? Um, and trust me, there's a lot of sneaky motherfuckers out there who do have offers. You gotta be careful, but that's the thing. It comes back down to personal responsibility. You need to know that you're taking that risk. Don't pay with cash. Pay with fucking credit. Uh, Look over their refund policy and shit. Like it's part of being a avid buyer, guys. Like to think that one thing is going to be a magic pill, going to solve everything in the world. Especially if it's an info course, not gonna happen, right? It should be like I offer X for Y dollars, right? So like for kick-ass investing, I teach you how to automate your investments for X dollars, right? That's what I do, right? It should be nothing more than that. It's not like I'm going to teach you how. I'm going to teach you if you give me the next. If you give me the next 30 seconds, I will show you how to make $1 million in just 10 minutes worth of work. Keep on watching, right? Check out my free webinar and all that sort of shit. It's not bad. Like the info business is not bad, and that's what the number one fucking thing that drives me nuts is like when I look at the alternatives that these guru bashers have, they're just like read a book. I'm like, go fuck yourself, dude. Like read a book. You want to learn sales and you want to fucking read the book, and then it's just like, oh, go be a plumber. I'm like, so that's why I fucking talk to plumbers every single day on my calls, because they want out. They want something that they can spend time with their family. It's just like, I'm not saying any solution is like going to be the perfect solution, but those are your alternative solutions. I don't think that's I think you're doing more harm actually to the community than good, right? I think educating people how to be more savvy buyers is more important, to be honest with you, right? And that's just how I feel. Like I just don't like I bought a lot of programs. I got what I needed out of them, but I never once blamed that guru. I blame myself, because if I bought a bad program, which I have in the past, right? Um, that was on me. That was no one else, right? You gotta take fucking responsibility. Be a fucking adult, guys. Holy shit. Whew. Um. So what do you do now that you're not in pharmacy? I do closing. I do YouTube. I have affiliate deals. That is my pretty much main sources of income recently. Uh. Brad says I got bootleg copy. You might not want to say that on a public thing, but didn't seem worth 2K. It was a one call group a week. Dan just rambled on with dumbass stories the whole time. Well, it was really the community that really held everything together. In my opinion, it was worth 2K. It was worth 2,500, but that's subjective, right? Just never know. And here's the thing about buying bootleg courses, Brad. Like, I don't support those things either, man. If somebody's, what is more scammy? What ethically, what's worse, right? Is it buying like, and here's the thing, buying bootleg copies and stuff has crossed my mind in the past. But at the end of the day, that's the intellectual property. You're stealing intellectual property from someone. I don't believe that is right. If you're going to buy something or even contemplate going into a certain course, you want to make sure that it's that you can't make a fair, accurate. You can't make that. You can't say whether something was worth it or not if you haven't been through the experience as well, right? That's all I'm saying, because there's also, yeah, sure, the info. There's also a community. There's like accountability, mentorship, skills, right? Those are three things. If you're just buying a pirated course, you're not getting those other two things, which are important too. Not to say that Dan's course will teach you how to be like a 6-figure high ticket closer. It definitely is possible, but this is very fucking hard. And I don't think, if you're gonna, like, truthfully, as a closer myself, I don't think you're gonna hit that 6-figure mark just through that course. It's through experience, right? Dopamine detox keyword is getting viral. Men teaching men fashion just went on it too. Yeah, I mean, I have another Alex Becker video on it. That I was supposed to be released, but I didn't. I'm tired of seeing dopamine detox. By the way, opportunity cost. Any tips on on getting a pharmacist job during the pandemic? Yeah, I do actually have a tip for you. By the way, Tiffany, let me pull it up. Um, health. So depending what your state is right now, let's see. So for example, I'll give you an example, and it might be different state to state, right? But something that you might want to check out is if you're, for example, if you're in California, let me get out Notion. Whew. Health professionals, California needs you. So they're looking for pharmacists, right? So these are like emergency type of things, just to build up your experience. Maybe you can network with some people as well, and all that. But I think this would be a great way to just get in the industry if you need to. If you're just bored, they even hire like students or something like that. I'm not sure about pharmacy students or anything like that, but something to consider, guys, right? As well. So there's a lot of opportunity at the moment. Uh, holy shit. 10K is still a lot in my opinion, considering that there's no guarantee of job. I'd rather buy more stock of Tesla. Yeah, I would say like, but here's the truth, guys. Like in business, there is no guarantees. I mean, like I was saying earlier, a part of starting a business is risk, right? And the risk is really upon yourself. Are you going to take all the action? Are you going to look for clients? It's going to be fucking hard looking for clients. It's not fucking easy. Obviously if you want more certainty, fine, like you could buy something like Tesla or stocks. I have nothing against it. I'm obviously into investing, right? As well, but at the end of the day, buying a Tesla stock, or buying any sort of investments, even dividend investing. I don't know why dividend investing is so huge. Honestly, I haven't done that much research in dividend investing, but honestly, like, it's not going to solve that cash flow problem if you want to leave your job. For me, I always wanted to leave my job when I was in pharmacy. I was like, I want to quit. I want to find something else. And so buying a course really helped me out because it gave me the confidence to just go out there, and existing framework. Was it the best framework? Fuck no, it wasn't, right? It was actually really, it wasn't that great, but it gave me the confidence to go out there and really to practice the skill of sales and stuff like that as well. So yeah, everyone buy Tesla, Tesla stock, please. What do you think about that stock? I have no opinions about Tesla, to be honest with you, as well. Tiffany Thor says thank you. Yeah, appreciate it. Um, Tiffany, what's gotta ask you, what state are you on? Are you in, by the way? And meanwhile, let's take a look at Tesla. Tesla. I'm just waiting for another scandal so I can just like double down into any sort of stocks or anything like that as well. Damn. Um, what's the ticker? TSLA. Let's take a look at this, guys. Georgia. So I'll take a look at that in a second, but let's take a look at the last 6 months. Yeah, looks like it's on the rise. It obviously fell during coronavirus and all that, but doing pretty well. It's pretty much back to where it was before. So, anyways, Tiffany, let's help you out for a bit. Haro says green tea latte. What is up, my dude? Um, let's see. Pharmacist, COVID, pharmacist, Georgia. Let's see if there's a state thing of Georgia. Speaking about Tesla, I ordered a Model 3. That's great stuff, man. They allow those in Hong Kong, bro. uh Man, I can't find anything. Anyways, guys, I'm getting tired. I need to get back to work anyways, but just want to check in, and just kind of tell you what's happened in my life. Really appreciate all y'all that have tuned in as well. Make sure to smash that like button. We're almost at 11K, guys, and it's pretty crazy, even though I post minimal content on this channel. But glad you guys fuck with it. If you guys enjoyed this, let me know. If you want to hear more stuff from me, specific questions or anything like that, always welcome them. It just gives me more content to kind of pump out in the future. So I'll talk to you guys later. Have a great day. Take care. Peace, mother people.